examine it. No, takes time to examine the decisions and takes instruction. Yes, stop. Sorry, Mr. Verma, we wanted to take it up earlier, but I said, I know you're waiting. We wanted to take it up earlier, but time. You as much time. Yes.
I was on the question of the scope of judicial review of a legislation on affirmative action. Now, keeping the fact that we are reaching the case at this hour, I'll come back to that proposition after preparing a synopsis of the citations which I want to present. And before that, may I just seek leave of the court to, I made the first proposition that the 50% rule stands obliterated by virtue of the 103rd Amendment.
That's right.
Now, in the alternative, I want to point out that even if the 50% rule is said to still hold good, that is not an inflexible rule, and there can be extraordinary situations or special or compelling reasons to depart from that rule. Now this, I want to point out that the impugned legislation was based on such extraordinary circumstances which warranted enactment of this provision enhancing the quota prescribed for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
Yes.
There are 5 such circumstances which warrant increase of quota in favor of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
Yes.
The first one is the exponential growth of the population of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The second reason is increase in the number of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes over this period after the quota was fixed at 18%. And the third factor is, likewise, the backward classes also saw an exponential growth of the population. And increase in the number of castes that were added to the 32% quota which was fixed in their favor. And the fourth and more important factor is the empirical data that was collected to study the demand that was made by the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes for enhanced quota.
Yes.
Warranted an enhancement as reflected by 3 reports, namely Ratnaprabha Committee Report.
Yes.
Justice Nagmohan Das Committee Report. And Justice Subhash Reddy Report. And the fifth factor is, I have already pointed out, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on the floor of the Constituent Assembly spoke of minority of seats without reference to the minorities.
Yes.
The religious minorities were to be considered under the draft article 296, which specifically provided for it. Now, in the instant case, the minorities to a tune of 17% of the population has been added to this list. And therefore, they have to be eschewed from consideration of the 50%. These are the 5 factors on which I want to. Let me start with the first one, namely how the population may pass on the copies of the reports on which this legislation is based. Yes. On the copies. It is the petitioner's admitted case that the reservation has been 18% from the beginning. It is not in dispute. And from 1958, 18% was bifurcated between scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the proportion of 15% and 3%. Kindly permit me to take the court straight away to Justice Nagmohan Das' report. Here I may make a statement that after the judgment in Pavitra 1, the government appointed a committee called under the chairmanship of the then Additional Chief Secretary, Srimati Ratnaprabha, who prepared and presented a report collecting the empirical data in respect of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Which report was accepted by the government and a legislation was passed giving consequential seniority to the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes who stood promoted under the quota reserved for them. This was the subject matter of a decision of the Honorable Supreme Court in Pavitra 2. And the Honorable Supreme Court has endorsed this report and the data collected, as also the methodology used for collection of this data in its entirety.
Yes.
Justice Nagmohan Das has not only utilized this data furnished by Ratnaprabha Committee, but has also independently examined certain aspects.
Yes.
He has updated this data and based on this data, empirical data, he has recommended enhancement of the quota.
Yes. Yes.
Justice Subhash Reddy has endorsed this recommendation and has also opined that the quota needs to be enhanced. I'll take the quote through the reports later, but before that, may I just come back to the first proposition, why this is an extraordinary case. That is the explosion of the population of the scheduled caste. Kindly come to para 190, page 199 of the report. Justice, at page 252.
Yes.
There is a tabular statement, table 8.2, which reflects the growth of the population. Page 252.
Yes.
In para 2.1, the growth of SC/ST population from 1961 to 2011 and the projected population for 2021. That is how it reads, caption. First, I'll refer the table. Kindly permit me to show serial number 1 relates to the census data of 1961.
Yes.
The population details are given and the percentage of the population of the scheduled caste in 1961 was 13.21. This is the census data, unimpeachable census data, and the corresponding population of the scheduled tribes was 0.81. And the quota fixed for them was 15 and 3 in 1961. From then onwards, every decennial census, the data is given. There is a steady growth. Kindly come to 1981. This is very important. 1981.
Yes.
From 13%, the scheduled caste population went up to 15%. And the scheduled tribe population from 0.81, it shot up to 4.9. But the quota remained the same, 15 and 3, even after 1981. Thereafterwards, I'll straight away take the quote to the last census that is available, 2011 census. The percentage of population of the scheduled caste as per the 2011 census in Karnataka was 17.15%. 17.15 as against 13.21 that was prevailing when 15% was fixed. Likewise, the scheduled tribe population exponentially grew, it literally multiplied from 0.81 to 6.95.
Yes.
But the quota remained at 3%.
Yes.
Kindly permit me to take the court to the next page. Justice Nagmohan Das committee has also taken the growth of the decennial growth of the population and has projected the population for the year 2020. Court may kindly permit me to say the report was submitted in 2020. So it projected the population till the date of the presentation of the report at 17.98 and 7.41. Kindly mark, this is very crucial.
Yes. Which page are you referring to?
This will be table 8.3 at page 253.
Yes.
At page 253.
Yes. So 18 and 7.5.
Yes. So 18, yes, 18 and 7. I go down to that. It is 18 and 7.5. In other words, for a population of 25.5, the quota stagnates at 15 and 3 respectively. So this is the first extraordinary circumstance.
Then your suggestion can't be that it must be proportionate.
No, I'm not saying it is. It should be
But
proportionate.
18% and 7.5 means 25 according to you.
No, we have still not given, even now, we have not given proportional representation. We have still not given proportionate representation. All that I am stating is that even after an exponential growth of the population,
Yes.
of both the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, there was no enhancement of the percentage of reservation in their favor. Because population is a relevant factor. I'll also show the authorities. Population need not be proportionate. It has to be adequate. I respectfully agree. But at the same time, the population of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes is a very important and relevant factor to be considered for fixing the quota in their favor. So this is the first circumstance, extraordinary circumstance, which has warranted the second extraordinary circumstance is also appreciated by the committee, Nagmohan Das committee. Kindly come to page 243. Sir, on the day 15% and 3% quota was fixed respectively, the total number of castes in the list of scheduled castes as per the presidential notification under Article 341 was 6, namely Adi Dravida, Adi Karnataka, page 243. There is a at page 244. The relevant para is there. Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes list during pre-unification period. In the Indian Republic, the power to include or exclude castes and tribes into the lists concerned rests with the President of India. The names of these castes and tribes are not to be written in vernacular language. As per the order declared on 10th August 1959, there were 6 scheduled castes which were eligible for reservation. Similarly, the order issued on September 6, 1956, 6 scheduled tribes were eligible for reservation. They are as follows. Scheduled castes, Adi Dravida, 2, Adi Karnataka, 3, Banjara or Lambani, 4, Bovi, 5, Koracha, and 6, Korama. These were the 6 castes which were included in the list of scheduled castes under Article 341 by the Parliament. And the number of scheduled tribes was also 6, namely Asalaru, Iruliga, Jenukuruba, Kadukuruba, 5 Malayaru, and 6 Soligaru.
Yes.
The committee has taken pains to chronologically record how new castes were added, new tribes were added,
Yes.
I have prepared a compendium to show all the parliamentary enactments which have added these castes, and I may kindly be permitted to place it before the court.
No, we'll take your note of your submissions.
Yes.
There will be an addition.
Yes.
Unless you say that there's something more than 245.
No. Yeah, all that I want to say is they are all acts of parliament which have added these castes, and today court may kindly record this statement that the number of castes in the list of scheduled castes
Yes.
is 101 as against 6 that was there, and the quota was fixed at 15%. So 6% quota has 15% quota fixed for 6 castes continues to stagnate even after the list became 101 castes.
Yes.
Yeah, I am placing those parliamentary enactments, copies given to me. Likewise, the scheduled tribes also underwent an exponential growth, and the number of tribes and or parts of tribes that are now added to the list, from 6, it has gone up to 50.
Yes. Yes.
One major factor which has boosted the population of the people. I request the court to kindly permit me to show one enactment. This is in the enactments of scheduled castes. I have placed all the orders. Kindly come to page 65 of that compilation.
Yes.
The Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Orders Amendment Act of 1976.
Yes.
Sir, this was brought into force with effect from 27/7/1977.
Yes.
Now, court may kindly take this fact into consideration. 1965, a committee was constituted, namely Lokur Committee, to go into the revision of the list of scheduled castes. 1965, it presented the report, based on which a bill was also introduced to amend the list of scheduled castes. However, it was referred to the select committee and the Lok Sabha was dissolved in 1971 and that bill did not see the light of the day thereafter. But instead of revising the list, by this 1976, what was done was the area restrictions that were placed earlier were removed, and the consequence of it was Karnataka, which composed of 5 different units, namely Bombay Karnataka area, Hyderabad Karnataka area, Old Mysore state, Kodagu, and Madras Karnataka area. There were 5 separate lists. Now, in all the 5 lists, there were several names which are not common. And by this act, with effect from 27/7/1977, the area restriction was removed and the castes or tribes which were only scheduled castes or scheduled tribes in pockets came to enjoy the status of a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe throughout the state of Karnataka. That is the reason why the population of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, we find such a sudden explosion of their population after 1977, and it is reflected in the 1981 census data. So that is the second strong reason why the quota needs to be increased.
Please continue.
Please.